Hi, I'm Kurt Vincent. Welcome to the Saturday Show. My guest this week is Glenn Silver, and you are the consultant for Southeastern Carolina Crossroads. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Glenn. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
First thing I wanted to ask you, Southeastern Carolina Crossroads was formed in 2007, I believe it was, so it's been about 3 years or so. Can you tell us a little bit about why it was formed and what your goals are?
Well, Southeastern Carolina Crossroads was formed in 2007 because in this region and in this area, as is true for the nation and the whole state, we have a lot of substance abuse issues, a lot of people struggling with substance abuse, and a lot of families adversely affected by that. For example, the state data shows that from 2006 to now, to 2010, the past fiscal year, the number of people who have sought admission for treatment for alcohol and drug abuse has almost tripled. That's just in this region, gone from an average from 13.4 to 38. And so there's a tremendous need and a dire need. And as you know, in these austere economic times, as government retrenches and other groups do, that we really need some help. And so some local residents, local people stepped up to bat and formed Southeastern Carolina Crossroads.
Now, I know you all have got some property and you're moving forward there. Is this something that's going to benefit Bladen County specifically, or is it more far-reaching than that?
It's more far-reaching than that. It's the Bladen County first, and then expanding out for 10 other counties, from as far as up to Wayne County in that area, Cumberland County, all the way back down to Brunswick County and New Hanover. And what we desire to do and what we aim to do is to use Christian principles to help us in helping people recover from alcohol and drug abuse. Because one of the things that happens in this field, and I've been working in this field and in nonprofit for almost 20 years, is a lot of the programs get people sober and get people clean, but don't get their lives redirected. It doesn't do us any good to get a person clean and sober. They don't have life skills. They don't know how to go out and interview and get a job. If they get a job, they don't know how to budget their money and set their priorities. So we have a three-pronged comprehensive program. It begins with non-residential first. We call it Jericho Road. And we have a life skills component. We have a clinical component that we're talking with CareNet about providing that. And then we have a vocational educational component where we'll be cooperating with the community college and workforce development. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel, and we can't do everything, but we want to make sure that everything is done.
Right. So having 10 counties, I guess, basically encompassing this effort, there's the potential for a lot of people being touched. Right,
right. It's 11 counties. It's an 11 county area, and there's potential for a lot of people to be touched. And it also targets a lot of areas that are really underserved. The rural areas in this country, people I think forget in the state and in the nation, most of the United States is rural. Urban areas and cities are the exception, but most places are rural. I'm from a rural area myself, and what we need to do is to get the other areas to support us and think of things regionally, because what happens in Bladen County affects the quality of life in Cumberland and in New Brunswick and in New Hanover. So we have to have people to think that way.
So I assume when you were considering where to locate this facility, the rural part of this equation is kind of why you chose Bladen?
Well, this was chosen before I became involved. What happened was I'm a consultant, and so the local people here, and this is what I want to emphasize, it's a grassroots effort. It's not people coming in from the outside trying to tell the local community what's best for them. These are local people, probably natives of Bladen County, who've been here all their lives and saw the community, the quality of life in their community going down, and they decided to do what they could about it. And so they formed a nonprofit, and then one of the things they did, they acquired some property out on Airport Road, 75 acres. And the Bladen Baptist Association has been very helpful and instrumental in helping raise some funds to get that done. But they had the property, but they didn't have a program. And so they asked me, one of their board members I met, and asked me to come in. And I've done this for Florida State University, for University of Florida, for North Carolina Wesleyan College, and was a consultant to the city of Rocky Mount. And I used to oversee housing for the Division of Mental Health. So I know the field pretty well, and the board has been very receptive, and everyone we've talked to has been very receptive to us now getting a program together where we can serve people, and then we need a place.
Right. Now you mentioned funding. Funding is a pretty big issue now, given the economy. Do you have plans for fundraisers and searching for grants, and exactly what are the plans for funding down the road?
Well, we have what I call a strategic fundraising plan, which is you have to look at various streams of revenue, not just grants. We just had our first event last week with an auction and a barbecue lunch, and we'd like to thank the community and thank everyone for supporting us in that effort. And special events get the word out, let people know who we are and what we're doing. We have some other special events that we're planning. We're looking at maybe trying to have a golf tournament, 5K run, and some other events and activities. In addition to that, we contacting individual donors, individual people. We have mailing lists and other supporters that we establish and that we get. We have private foundations. We have some grants being considered by some foundations now. The Way Foundation out of New Hanover County, as well as some governmental grants and other opportunities. But what we make sure that we do, that we pursue funding that's consistent with our mission. We don't do what I call chasing dollars, where we say, well, you tell us what you have money for and that's what we'll be. We don't follow that approach. We tell you what our mission is and what our goal is, and then we see if the funding that you have fits it.
Right. Now, how's the community reaction been so far on the whole?
The community reaction has been very, very supportive, very supportive. Individuals, companies, we had people donating items for the auction. We've had people asking how they can help, how they can get the word out. People are very eager to assist, and if they don't have finances and can't make financial contributions, they're willing to give up their time and their talents.
Okay. Now I assume partnering with other agencies in the region is going to be an important part of this whole process?
It's very important. It's very important. Collaboration is very important because, as you mentioned, when you have tight economic times, people want to make sure that you are operating efficiently and effectively. We don't need to go and, for example, when I mentioned about the community college, we don't need to go and try to recruit a teacher and recreate GED classes and those kind of things. What we need to do is let the community college know that we have people who are interested, and then ask them to send us an instructor, and we get the students to them. So collaboration and partnership is very important. And especially when you get into things like with the target population, mental health and counseling. We don't have the capacity and don't want to get into the bureaucracy of becoming a licensed facility and getting a psychiatrist and all those things. We have providers that exist. CareNet does a very good job for that. They are Christian and pastoral and based, and they have the same values and core principles we do. So I was on a call with them a few weeks ago, and they're very supportive of the concept. They have offices and agencies in the geographic area, and they're willing to collaborate and partner with us. So this partnership is very important.
Okay. Now, will this facility be something where individuals can come to you themselves, or is it a referral process? How does it work?
Well, it will work both ways. We're going to start off with a non-residential program at first, because that's the one that we can do least expensive, and it also can have the greatest impact. We have a church that has agreed conceptually with the general concept to allow us to use some space. So we'll start with a non-residential program, about 15 people. And then from there, once there's always a learning curve. There's some things you have to get worked out and operating smoothly. Once we do that and are able to show people there's some results, show them some evidence, people's lives have been impacted, people will be giving testimonials about how they've been helped, then we'll use that to springboard into residential. And so we think that it'll take us this year to get the non-residential up and running, get some results, get some of the kinks worked out, as we said, and then maybe next year this time we'll be thinking about doing a facility. But as you said, what it will be, some will be referrals, some will be people walking in, but the good thing is with CareNet and their involvement is that people will be screened and make sure that they're getting the service that they need. Somebody that's severely and persistently mentally ill, but also is a substance abuser, we may not be able to provide the service that they need. They may need a service that somebody else can provide, but we would be the point of entry into the mental health and substance abuse treatment system. You know, we understand that we're part of a broader system, so we can't, and then you may have some people get confused and misdirected sometimes. If a person is just looking for somewhere to stay, a shelter, that's not what we are.
Right.
And so we can direct them and refer them to that. So we'll take referrals. I think some of the largest number of referrals we probably will be getting will be from probation and parole. You know, you have people who have substance abuse issues who've been sentenced some kind of way.
Right.
But it'll be a referral network, and we'll be working with the other agencies as a source of referral and for referring people to them.
When the vision is realized, I guess, as it is seen now, and you take on a residential situation, how many people do you think a residential facility will hold?
Well, the plan is to ultimately build 2 facilities, one for men called Bethesda House and another for women called Ruth's Refuge, and they will have housed 100 people, okay. 100 each. That's the ultimate goal. That's the long-term and long-range goal, but it'll happen in phases. We'll start with a non-residential, then we'll do the first phase of a residential probably for men, then the first phase of a residential for women, then the second phase and the third phase.
So it's a slow process.
Well, it's a slow process. It's a deliberate process. You know, the Lord said, in Luke 14, if anybody's going to do anything, if you're going to build something, you got to sit down first and count the cost. Right. And so, good planning makes for good operations once you get up and operate.
That makes sense. Now, if someone wants to help in any way locally, how can they do that?
Well, they can help. They can call me, and they can call me at 252-544-1421. Don't be thrown off by the 252 area code. It's a cell phone, and you can call me, and then we can get you directed into how you can help. Right now we need someone to serve as our webmaster in our web design. We want to get our website some improvements and some changes we want. We need somebody to maintain that for us, so we need a volunteer in that area. We need volunteers to help us with some office assistants, stuffing envelopes, making phone calls. We need volunteers to help us with the special events. So there's a lot of work to be done, and of course we always need funding and finances, but we also need people. We can't forget that our aim and our goal is to serve people. That's why the recovery program, the non-residential, is called Jericho Road, because in that parable the Lord reminds us that in all of our busyness we need to remember that His focus and ours should be on people. You know, there was the man that was beside the road in the parable of the Samaritan. Right. And I was speaking with somebody, and we always emphasize the Samaritan because we want to be the Samaritan, but the Samaritan's focus was not on himself. It was on the man that was by the road that needed help. Exactly. And the other part of that parable that I really like is the partnership that's emphasized. The Samaritan couldn't do it all, and so he partnered with the host of the inn. He said, I've done all I can. Here's some money. Do some more, and if that's not enough, I'll pay it when I come back. And what that represents, the Samaritan represents the church and those of us who are believers. The host of the inn represents the secular world, governmental agencies, non-faith-based agencies. But there's a partnership that we have. We see the government can't do it all. The secular world can't do it all. And we, the church, as Christians, we can't do it all. But we can work together to make sure we get people from laying on the side of the road, beaten down by drug addiction.
All right. Well, Glenn, I certainly appreciate you stopping by and talking to us about this, and I wish you all the luck in the world. If there's anything else we can do to help along the way, and I'm sure we'll be more than happy to do that.
Well, thank you.
So just let us know. Thank you all for joining us on the Saturday show. You all have a good week.